All right, Scorpio, welcome to your November of 2015 Sidereal Astrology forecast. My name is Athen. This is for Sidereal Astrology. If you're new to this type of astrology, do check the description down below because your sign might very well be different. And what I'm going to start doing for these monthlies is instead of talking about all the minor aspects, which makes the reading quite convoluted and sort of confusing, I'm just going to talk about the transits of the planets in the houses when they transit a house, also the new moon, the full moon, and any major aspects taking place in the sky. And then if you want more specific information, do check out your weeklies for that particular month, because in there I'll talk about the details of those. So let's go and see how it goes. Scorpio, right at the beginning of the month, we do have this conjunction between your ruler Mars and Venus, which is actually not the first of these aspects that has taken place over the past few months. With this, Venus has already gone retrograde and direct over your ruler. So here, the last and final one, it's over your ruler. It's about looking good, feeling good, sort of maybe even sprucing up the self-image a little bit, but maybe even enjoying relationships. A lot of you might be very direct on putting yourself out there, and it's all in the area of the 11th house, which is about groups, networking, community-related stuff, or your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, things like that. Maybe even income from your work. So there's a lot of energy shifting in there. It's already been quite active, actually. This is where we had the new moon. You've had the sun. You've had Mercury here. But now your ruler really emphasizes this 11th house. And with Venus, it could be quite enjoyable as well for the next, for this whole month and onward. So it's a yin-yang, masculine, feminine energy for you. It's bringing in that good looks, relationships, wanting to connect, all of that kind of stuff, especially because Venus already naturally does rule your 7th house of relationships. I think there's a lot of motivation and drive for that, and that's really setting the stage for the rest of the month. Now, on the 5th, the sun goes into Libra, which is your 12th house, and there's a lot of energy going into your 12th house this month. Mercury will follow on the 10th, and then we're going to have a new moon on the 11th. In that 12th. So here, especially from the 5th onward, I think there's just a focus. I think maybe you're just wanting to have more of that alone time, reflective time, rest, relaxation, whatever it is, or at least it's good for you because you'll gain that prana and that energy from that spiritual time out. And with Mercury, there is a lot of sort of intuition. Maybe it's behind the scenes, maybe it's in your dream space, that kind of thing really clicking this month. And there's new beginnings now regarding your spirituality, your deep self, and that rest and relaxation that is, of course, so important in life. So it's a great month for setting intentions around those types of things, for meditation, yoga, whatever it is that you do in regards to that. But it's probably going to be quite practical this month with Mercury. Now, as the month unfolds, there'll be more of that culminating, and then in about 6 months, you'll see that this is a culmination time of a lot of these sort of spiritual energies for you. But like I said, there's still a lot of active energy involving the 11th house, and I think that's where a lot of your attention is going to be in terms of your motivation, your drives, and your goals. And that's a great place for you too, because the North Node's been transiting this 11th house of yours. So it's been a couple years where the life path has been unfolding for you to connect, to network, to be a part of things larger than self, essentially. And it's a great month to do so. Now, one thing I want to say too is this first half of the month has Jupiter opposing up to Chiron. So there is this healing energy taking place with your career. In fact, your career has been, it's going to continue to be the big emphasis because you had that solar eclipse and you still have Jupiter here expanding that. So there should be possibilities there. If it's not career, maybe it's your legacy, your public image, things like that. And all of that should be quite healing, especially from the 8th, 9th, 10th onward, sort of rejuvenation taking place by getting involved and maybe even pursuing a lot of these things. Because with Jupiter, you really want to pursue those possibilities, and here the luck and the possibilities and seeing that in the career or legacy picture is really what it takes. And then walking through those doors, turning them into a sort of reality and grounding that makes those possibilities turn into something very long-lasting and tangible. So I highly recommend it, and I think if you do this first week, it could be quite healing as well. Healing maybe even the home and family stuff, which has been going through this very spiritual and healing energy with both Neptune and Chiron as well, and finding the balance between the domestic life and the work life as well. So that's the first half of the month, specifically relating to the shift into the 12th. And then on the 18th, from the 18th all the way into December, a very important major aspect, we've got Neptune going station direct after his 6th month of retrograde. And it just so happens that when he does that, he squares up to Saturn within a 1-degree orb. So going into December, there is this very practical energy about and very uncertain energy about what we're building in life. You've had Saturn recently go into your house of Scorpio last month in October. So there's been this sort of discipline with self. Maybe some of you have been taking on some responsibilities this year, getting serious about maybe your physical exercise or your goals, your ambitions, your drives. And that's a really good way of working with Saturn, is really taking that stuff seriously and working at it productively and pursuing your goals in life. So with that, the square to Neptune says that maybe we don't have all the information. Maybe we don't have it all figured out. Maybe there's a lot of things that we're just uncertain about that, especially regarding the future with those things. The future with self, maybe even the self-image. Who are we? What are we doing? That kind of thing. So the more willing we are to go with the flow and be adaptive and trust our inner guidance, then it becomes very constructive. And that's exactly what we want to do the second half of the month, is tap into that Neptunian energy, which is in your emotional body, listening to your inner guidance and intuition there and letting that guide you. And the more we are open to the uncertainty, then it does actually become very constructive. It can be a time of really building, again, an image, a you, and pursuing your goals that are more in alignment with your true spiritual self, your soul, basically. Neptune in the 4th house is like your soul. So that's going to be the highest on the 26th, and I think up into that point, it's a great time of really continuing to work hard with the self. Now, on the 21st, Mercury goes into your 1st house, so there is this shift going into, I think, thinking more about yourself. It is quite a quick sort of reflective time there, really just the first half of the month, or middle part too, actually. But then from the 21st and then on the 24th, the Sun goes into your 1st as well. So there's going to be a lot of focus, a lot of intention on the self, on those goals, ambitions, but again, it's taking it slow, very pragmatic, which is Saturn. And then on the 25th, we have a full moon in your 7th house of relationships. So over the past 6 months, for those of you who've been involved in a relationship or just in connecting or anything involving like legal matters or business or relations in some way, it can be a culminating point now this month. And at the very least, you're seeing it very clearly. There's an illumination about your relationships, which is great to balance with all this energy on self. Because with the self, the goals and stuff, opposite that is the others, and what, it's cooperation and working with others in our relationships. So when you balance these two areas of life, then you come into a good, strong synergy. Now, again, there's uncertainty about the whole thing, which is Neptune. So that's always going to play a role. Maybe uncertainty around the home, family, past, roots. And that's okay, because there's, when we are willing to go with the flow, this becomes very constructive, and this becomes, a long-term sort of energy, especially with Saturn opposing up to this full moon, is suggesting that, there are things culminating, but there's also a lot of things that, are very serious about it, or that need the discipline, need maturity, and need that Saturnian approach to make it long-term and make it long-lasting. And it's a very slow and steady energy. So the more open we are to taking it slow, then it's that much more constructive, and it's very practical too with Mercury. So that's the 25th, and on the 28th, we do have Chiron going station direct. So if you have been feeling like the things relating to home, family, past, and roots have been sort of in the back burner or reflective over the past 6 months, now Chiron and Neptune before this going direct means that energy will start to move forward for you, which is nice. On the 29th, we've got Mercury going into Ophiuchus. If you're watching this for your Ophiuchus sign, then this is going to be a lot of focus on the self here, mostly for your Ophiuchus types out there. A lot of the Saturn energy might still be in your 12th, actually. So there's this discipline about spirituality, a larger emphasis for those of you in regards to the spiritual time out, that alone time, and taking that seriously. But from the 29th and especially into December, a lot of these fast-moving planets, eventually Venus and then Mars, will be going into your 1st house. So larger emphasis on self next month, whereas this month more so in regards to the spirituality, behind-the-scenes activities, and continuously building solid foundations there. All right, Scorpio and Ophiuchus, I hope you guys have a fantastic month. If you have any questions, please do let me know, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.